This is 101 WWE matches everyone should watch at least once. Yeah.
As the biggest wrestling company in the world, World Wrestling Entertainment produces hundreds of televised matches per year and have tens of thousands of them either readily available via the WWE Network, YouTube, and home media releases, with a great many more stored away in their vault until they're ready, or in some cases not ready, to see the light of day. Fire up the network now and you will be spoiled for choice when it comes to what matches, or full shows you're able to watch. I
kind of wish I had access to that.
And while every match has its merits, I suppose, if you're a WWE fan, hell, even if you're not a WWE fan in some cases, there are some matches that you should watch at least once. Looking back through the decades, we here at Cultaholic Wrestling have chosen 101 matches that are either brilliant, fun, historic, controversial, business-changing, or otherwise stand out as significant in some form or fashion.
See, the WWE Network is something we never got in, like, Singapore, so, like, I kind of wish, like, we had access to it, but I guess we didn't. I love wrestling. I do love wrestling very much.
Made us, as fans, feel something more than other matches. Now, it is important to state right from the jump that this is not the 101 best WWE matches ever, and they're not ranked in any particular order. This is more like a smorgasbord of superior sports entertainment for you to snack on, and then
Cena versus AJ Styles
over the internet about. If you are a long-term WWE superfan and you're currently watching a Cultaholic Wrestling YouTube video,
there really wasn't, so it was like kind of like
you may have seen some, most, or even all of the matches included here. But you know what? We might just surprise you. I'm Adam Pachisi from Cultaholic Wrestling, and these are 101 WWE matches everyone should watch at least once.
But this is 2 years old, so that means that the recent ones probably aren't here yet.
Sponsored by NordVPN. We at Cultaholic truly believe that Nord is the best service of its kind.
I should have used NordVPN to get access to the WWE Network. The Vault YouTube. Is it really? That's crazy. Oh, okay, I need to look for the Vault channel then. Holy shit. WrestleMania XX is the best one. I think I need to rewatch that.
It's super easy to use. Connect with one click or enable auto connect for zero-click protection. There are over 5,300
I need the Nord sponsorship, guys.
Countries, which is a hell of a lot. It has amazing speed, confirmed by the speed tests. NordVPN is the fastest service out there, and it's on.
Remember, we're watching the ads because we're watching their content for free.
Here's how I use Nord. Obviously, I live in the United Kingdom, but with NordVPN, I can set myself to be anywhere in the world virtually and access content from those regions. So this means if I fancied it, I could set myself to be somewhere in the world virtually and sign up for a certain sports entertainment network for a fraction of the price. Or if I happen to live in the United States, I could sign up for that sports entertainment network even though it doesn't properly exist as it did in the United States before.
Literally
and it
me.
works on lots of other on-demand services too. Nord costs the equivalent of a cup of fancy coffee every month, a small price to pay for complete peace of mind when it comes to cybersecurity and access to a whole range of entertaining content. Also, there's even a 30-day money-back guarantee, so if Nord isn't for you, you can get your money back, no bother at all.
Oh, they got the archives. It's called TH14. Oh, I gotta remember that. Hold up. Dude, I fucking love wrestling. Holy shit.
Grab your exclusive NordVPN deal by going to nordvpn.com/cultaholic. Links in the description below.
Links in the description.
A huge discount off your NordVPN plan, plus an additional 4 months for free. And remember, it's completely risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the video.
Number 101, Bret Hart versus the 1-2-3 Kid on Raw.
Guys, I wasn't even born.
It was practically unheard of
I wasn't born yet. Holy shit.
WWE title match on free television, especially one between two babyfaces. Bret Hart and the 1-2-3 Kid had one of the best televised matches in WWE history to kick off the July 11th, 1994 episode of the company's flagship show, the two telling a simple yet compelling story of the Kid valiantly trying to stay in the hunt and cause a huge upset upset against the Hitman, despite being outmatched when it came to size, experience, and technique. The work was exceptional, the crowd were well into it, and by the end, you genuinely believed that the impossible might just happen. It wasn't the kid's night on this night, but losing this match did more for him in his career than winning 10 or 20 other matches would have done. Perhaps the first truly great match in Raw's history, it still holds up and, in fact, somehow feels even more remarkable close to 30 years later. Number 100.
I do feel like Bret Hart's matches are really good. I do feel like they are really good, so I'm not surprised that like his match is up there.
Brock Lesnar versus John Cena at Extreme Rules 2012.
Ooh.
Brock Lesnar's first WWE match in 8 years was unlike anything fans had seen before. The next big thing was hot off his record-breaking UFC run. And
that
brought a
German
sense
suplex.
of realism that certainly jarred next to WWE's hand-picked PG poster boy, John Cena. This Extreme Rules scrap from 2012's namesake pay-per-view was brutal, with Brock dismantling Cena in variously grisly but entertaining ways. You know when people talk about when a car crash happens in front of you, and even though you shouldn't watch, you can't bring yourself to look away? Yeah, that. Fans have argued about the end result since it happened, but if you're going into the match cold and without context for what was going on at the time, you will no doubt get sucked into the drama of it all.
Do you guys remember the end result? Who won? I don't remember this match. This was like when I wasn't like able to watch WWE, so I have no idea. Back when he had hair is crazy. Also, I genuinely want to ask you guys this if you're familiar. What do you think of Brock Lesnar's like sword neck tattoo? I think it's so bad. But what do you guys think? Were we even born back then? Yes, we were born. Most of us were probably born during when like Cena was like, you know. Was this when he was Super Cena?
Plus, it's not every day you see two stars of this magnitude go at it as ferociously as these two did on this particular night. Number 99.
2000. Okay, I was definitely born then. I just can't tell you guys when.
DX and the Radicals versus
But I
The
definitely
Rock,
didn't watch
Cactus
this.
Jack, Too Cool and Rikishi on Raw. In professional wrestling, a crowd can really help make a match. A hot crowd can make a so-so bout seem like a decent bout feel like a great one, and a great one feel like an all-timer. There aren't many crowds in WWE history as hot as the one on hand in Dallas for the February 7th, 2000 edition of Raw. Those in Reunion Arena that night made the show's main event seem even better than it was, and it was still pretty friggin' good regardless. During this time, WWE were firing on all cylinders, and everyone in the match was either over or on their way to getting over.
Oh, is that Mick
crowd
Foley?
were on fire for everything, and the match itself is really fun, capped off with a frenetic post-match scene that is worth sticking around for. Number 98, The Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 25. Two of the greatest performers in the history of WrestleMania finally collided on the big stage in 2009, producing an instant classic that is regarded as one of the best matches not only in the history of the granddaddy of them all, but in WWE history itself. By this point, the Dead Man and the Heartbreak Kid were battle-hardened veterans who knew exactly how to manipulate the audience's emotion, so giving them 30 minutes to work their magic on the grandest stage of them all pretty much guaranteed that they would produce something extra special. Two well-defined characters giving it their all. The
stills from this match are
major stakes,
insane.
the streak
What
on
the
line.
fuck?
What is not to love? With no title at stake, the streak was the story, and Michaels and Taker skillfully played with the crowd's expectations, with one unplanned moment when the Phenom landed on his head from an over-the-top rope dive, adding some genuine urgency. WWE's only mistake was not having this match close the show, because neither world title match could possibly follow it. Number 97, Shane.
Guys, I still think one of my favorite matches from The Undertaker is the one where, you know, the one where the meme came from, where he was against, who was he against? Was it Edge? I don't remember. But you know that one Undertaker meme where he's like right behind them, and it was like in like a graveyard like cemetery thing. I forgot who it was against. Oh man, I'm so sad now. I'm washed. AJ Styles, yeah. I don't know why. I thought it was Edge. No, it's a soccer mom haircut. Yeah, it's the soccer mom haircut, huh? I saw Undertaker WrestleMania. It was bonkers. Was it really? Oh, damn. That's crazy. Dude, can I be real? The thought of, like, Undertaker, like, landing on top of anyone is scary enough because bro is, like, big and tall. Like, shit. I would genuinely worry about, like, breaking bones, you know what I mean? Okay, let's keep it going. Shane McMahon versus Mr. McMahon? Oh, I think I remember this.
Shane McMahon versus Mr. McMahon at WrestleMania X7.
Ooh.
WrestleMania is as much about pomp and pageantry and sports entertainment as it is about, well, you know, actual wrestling. And who gets sports entertainment more than the McMahon family themselves? Their psychodrama played out wonderfully at WrestleMania X7 as Father Vince battled son Shane in a street fight with plenty of extras, including Mick Foley as the special guest ref and a mid-match catfight between Trish Stratus and Stephanie McMahon after Trish got her sweet revenge on the genetic jackhammer. Speaking of revenge, any time the simple act of someone standing up from a chair can make 67,000 odd people lose their minds, you know you've done something right. There were a few McMahon versus McMahon matches, or matches that involved McMahon infighting, but this is the peak, as everything paid off just at the right moment. It wasn't pretty, it wasn't meant to be, but it did everything it was supposed to.
I feel like
and if
the
you can't
documentary,
Vince McMahon get a trash can kicked into his face, then there's something wrong with you. Number 9.
I feel like the documentary kind of ruined the McMahons for me. I mean, I guess Shane McMahon's fine, right? Everyone else is like kind of ruined for me though after watching the Netflix documentary. Like oh man, even Linda McMahon's also kind of ruined.
96, the Hardy Boys
It is
versus
all
the
business,
Dudley
huh?
Boys versus Edge and Christian at SummerSlam 2000. Before these three teams came along and changed the game, tag team wrestling was low priority stuff as far as those behind the scenes in WWE were concerned. And boy, how Edge and Christian, the Hardys and the Dudleys changed all of that.
And the Hardys are back, let's go.
That really set a dangerous precedent going forward. This was 6 guys going out and doing everything in their power to steal the show. They'd previously made magic at WrestleMania 2000 with a triangle ladder match, but upped the ante here by adding tables and chairs into the mix too. Even watching it over 2 decades later, with everything that's happened in the wrestling business since, it takes your breath away due to the creativity, inventiveness, and sheer danger on display. Even non-fans would be hard-pressed not to be taken aback by what they were seeing in real time, with no second takes and no Hollywood crash pads to cushion anyone's fall.
Whatever happened to the Dudleys?
Steve Austin versus Dude Love at Over the Edge 1998. The rise and eventual coronation of Stone Cold Steve Austin was a sight to behold as the Texas Rattlesnake took the industry by storm en route to winning his first WWE title in the main event of WrestleMania 14.
Stop, I haven't seen a Degeneration X shirt in like forever. Them retired? Oh, you know what? That makes sense. They went to TNA and retired. You know what? That makes sense. I mean, you know, probably for the best because like I don't think they're that young also. I haven't seen like a Degeneration X shirt in like forever, dude. But also, have you guys seen like how Steve Austin's been doing lately? He's got like his own he's got his like farm now, and he's just like a chill guy, and he's got his cat and he's got like 2 cats I think, and they're both like really cute. I really like them. His like Instagram shorts come on my reels sometimes, and I'm like, oh my god, I love Poncho.
His first major feud was against Mick Foley's alter ego, Dude Love, though really it had just as much, if not more, to do with his bitter rivalry with Mr. McMahon. Austin and Love headlined the Over the Edge pay-per-view, giving us a far more enjoyable sequel to their Unforgiven effort the month prior. What sets this apart was not just the increased quality of the action, but also the added sizzle of having Falls Count Anywhere stipulations, McMahon as a guest referee, Stooges Gerald Brisco and Pat Patterson as guest timekeeper and guest ring announcer respectively, as well as the Undertaker stationed as guest ringside enforcer. Ridiculously fun stuff, with everyone playing their parts perfectly. This really is the best that the much vaunted Attitude Era had to offer. Number 94, Kurt Angle and Chris Benoir versus Edge and Rey Mysterio at No Mercy 2002. 2002 saw WWE introduce their brand split in a bid to essentially create competition within the company.
That sounds like a good match.
Of the split initially was the formation of the so-called SmackDown 6, who helped make the blue brand the must-watch show for fans who favored superior wrestling.
Stop. stop. Can I get an 07 in the chat for Eddie? Oh my god. Yeah, Chris Benoit, but also Eddie Guerrero was in this match, so it had to be fire. I don't know, man. If you didn't know, Eddie Guerrero's passed away. Chris Benoit has also passed away. The Chris Benoit thing is a little, it's very fucked up. But everyone's favorite Latino heat, Eddie Guerrero, is the GOAT. Dude, no, yeah, I mean the Eddie and Rey Mysterio beef will always be iconic because it's so relevant in 2024, 2025 because now we don't know who Dom's dad is. I mean, we know who Dominic Mysterio's dad is, right?
4 of the 6 were at their very best at No Mercy, where they clashed in a tournament final to crown the first SmackDown exclusive tag team champions.
Ooh.
The quartet of young and hungry athletes vying to establish themselves as stars let it all hang out with a barn burner that stood as WWE's best match of the year, at least as far as pure in-ring work goes. What makes it so enjoyable is the melding of styles, with Rey's lucha offense contrasting nicely with the amateur exploits of Angle and Benoit's full throttle ultra-intense approach, while Edge played the fiery babyface to a T. Still one of the best tag matches in WWE history, and a look at 4 tremendous pros at the peak of their powers. Number 93, Paul Orndorff versus Hulk Hogan at the big event. Wrestling is
I definitely don't know this one.
When it's at its simplest. Good, bad, black, white, hero, villain. There weren't exactly too many shades of grey in the 1980s when the red and yellow of Hulkamania reigned supreme and Hulk Hogan, under the watchful eye of Vince McMahon, transformed the business into a pop culture phenomenon. Like all good protagonists, the Hulkster needed an effective antagonist or series of them to go up against, with one of—
I forgot how bad Hulk Hogan's like hair was in this like era. I completely forgot about that. I'm so used to seeing him with like the bandana on. I completely forgotten. Holy shit. Yeah, he's been balding since he was 20. Like, shit. Poor guy. I mean, man, who knows?
one of his most effective adversaries coming in the form of Paul Orndorff, who had been teaming with Hogan before growing jealous of his success and turning on him.
Ooh.
Hulk and Mr. Wonderful were a huge box office attraction whenever they went up against one another, with their match at the big event, a non-pay-per-view show that attracted over 60,000 fans to Toronto's Exhibition Stadium, being one of the key battles in their feud. They didn't do anything fancy, sticking to a formula that they knew worked, but the massive crowd ate it and the ringside theatrics of Bobby the Brain Heenan up with a spoon, leading to months of sellouts around the country.
Damn.
Number 92, Bianca Belair versus Sasha Banks at WrestleMania 37.
Oh.
Female performers first received the opportunity to main event WrestleMania in 2019, with Becky Lynch, Ronda Rousey, and Charlotte Flair colliding in a winner-takes-all triple threat match with both the Raw and SmackDown women's titles on the line.
What do you guys think? I heard Ronda's coming back. I heard Ronda Rousey's coming back. What do you guys think? Dominic's last name was ladder match. Dominic's last name is very clearly Morgan. We'll see. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I remember, like, when she was still active, people were saying that she was, like, unsafe to work with, right? So hopefully she's better now. I mean, you know, man, she got way better after she left. Oh, okay, that's good then. That's good. I think, like, my main concern is that, like, you know, like I said, people say that she's, like, she's unsafe to work with, so hopefully that's not the case anymore.
The match was no doubt historic and worth a watch, even if it doesn't appear on this list, but it pales in comparison to the awesome Sasha Banks versus Bianca Belair bout from 2 years later.
Ooh.
Closing out night one, the Boss and the EST of WWE had the first singles women's WrestleMania main event, which was also historic because it was the first time African-American women had been in the picture. Not only that, but the first night of WrestleMania 37 was the first time WWE had performed in front of a paying audience in over over a year due to the global pandemic. You could see the emotion written over both competitors' faces as they knew that they were about to tear the house down in extraordinary circumstances, which they did, and then some. Number 91, The Shield versus Cody Rhodes and Goldust at Battleground 2013.
I love The Shield!
At its core, professional wrestling is about and thrives off emotion. It's the matches that make us feel something above all others that keep us hooked, with effective storylines and stipulations helping significantly in this respect. One of the big go-to pro wrestling tropes since Austin versus McMahon helped the company reach the stock market is the everyman versus authority angle. It has been deployed often and to decidedly mixed results, with one of its best uses coming in 2013 as the Rhodes family waged war with the authority. It all led to Battleground, where Cody and Goldust took on the Shield, Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns, with their and their father Dusty's jobs on the line.
I love The Shield so much. You guys don't get it, okay? There's just something about Shield Roman Reigns that was so goofy. Sometimes when I get really sad, I watch that one promo that they cut where he was like tweaking. It's so good, it's so funny, and it makes me happy because it's so goofy. But yeah, oh man, I forgotten what Cody looked like without the neck tattoo. I forgot what he looked like without the neck tattoo. He looks so much better without it. I don't know. Maybe I'm a hater. Maybe I am a hater. I don't know. I don't like his neck tattoo.
The match itself was nothing groundbreaking in terms of the dynamics at play or the structure, but everyone worked it expertly, with the crowd responding to the escalating drama as they passionately cheered on the Rhodes boys. And it all built to one of the best feel-good moments in recent memory. Number 90, Triple H versus Cactus Jack at Royal Rumble 2000. And now we hit our second of Foley's three faces, as Cactus Jack was brought back for St. Mick's exceptional send-off feud with Triple H. The game had established himself as one of the top guys in the industry, but he was yet to have a genuinely classic match while a member of the Main Eventers Club. But that all changed with his WWE title street fight against Cactus at the 2000 Royal Rumble. Foley himself felt the need to prove himself all over again after his performances had diminished in quality over the previous months due to a laundry list of debilitating injuries. He and Hunter captivated an infused Madison Square Garden crowd on the night with a match that enhanced Foley's legacy while establishing Triple H as the man, kicking off a banner year for the Cerebral Assassin. It's not for the squeamish mind, with Foley taking a sickening face-first bump into a pile of thumbtacks for the finish, but they didn't overdo it either, the violence and blood fitting with the storyline, setting, and stakes. Number 89, Adrien Adonis and Dick Murdoch versus the Brisco brothers in MSG. One legendary tag team that really doesn't get its due these days, no thanks to you damn pesky millennials, is the team of Adrien Adonis and Dick Murdoch. The North-South Connection were former WWE Tag Team Champions and had many memorable bouts in both Japan and WWE, including this one against Jack and Jerry Brisco in the final days of 1984. A tale of real contrasts, the Brisco brothers were technically sound, rule-abiding good guys, while the champs were brawling, rule-breaker scumbags. The teams meshed brilliantly in a near half-hour blinder that requires patience but is so worth the investment. Dirty Dick in particular is on another level here with his facial expressions, wild bumping, and overall shenanigans as he and adorable Adrien put on a great show opposite the understated former NWA standouts. There's great wrestling, brawling, character work, and a structure and pace different to just about any other tag match that you're bound to see. The MSG crowd showed their appreciation for the four pros, realizing that they were watching something special, even if the double count-out finish is a little anticlimactic. Number 88, Bret Hart versus Mr. Perfect at SummerSlam 1991.
I definitely wasn't born.
When you see a star born right before your very eyes. Not that Bret Hart wasn't a star yet, but he was in the middle of trying to establish himself as a singles performer after many successful years tagging with Jim Neidhart as the Hart Foundation. Booked against Kurt Mr. Perfect Hennig for the Intercontinental title at SummerSlam 1991, the excellence of execution, announced himself in the world's most famous arena, capturing his first major singles title in a textbook wrestling match. Not only was Hennig unselfish in letting the Hitman kick out of his perfect plex finisher, the very fact that Kurt even made it to the ring that night is something of a miracle, as his back was wrecked and he would in fact take 15 months off to recover immediately after.
Oh,
it was
no.
a star-making performance from Bret, who would go from strength to strength over the course of the next year or so on his way to winning the big one. Number 87, Sergeant Slaughter versus the Iron Sheik in MSG.
07 to the Iron Sheik, guys.
To a newer generation of WWE fans, Sergeant Slaughter and the Iron Sheik are two figures to poke fun at, anachronistic representations of a cartoonish bygone era who some feel look silly living the gimmick many moons later. Well, let me tell you right now, appearances can be deceiving, and there was nothing cartoonish or silly about the bloody boot camp match the two men had in MSG on June 16th, 1984.
Ooh.
This was a war. Not so much a wrestling match as a wild and bloody fight to the death. Sheik and Sarge blew off their legendary feud, American Super Patriot versus Evil Foreign Menace works every time, in epic style. Anyone who thinks of Sheiky Baby as a make-believe Twitter jokester or sees Sarge as that old bloke who comes out to get beaten up by the Rusevs and Jack Swaggers of the world really ought to educate themselves on what special talents they were in their heyday. And this match would be the place to start. Number 86, The Rock versus Mankind on Raw. And now we get to the third of Foley's three faces, with his maiden WWE title win as Mankind on the January 4th, 1999 episode of Raw. It was a significant day not only in Foley's career, but in the Monday Night War between WWE and WCW. Raw was pre-taped that night as opposed to the live Nitro, with Eric Bischoff and company doing their best to put a dampener on Foley's big moments by having commentators Tony Schiavone spoil the result, sarcastically adding that him being champ ought to put a lot of butts in seats. It was Foley and WWE who had the last laugh, though, as hundreds of thousands of people changed the channel in order to see the switch. And what a moment it was. The match itself wasn't anything to necessarily write home about, but people fondly remember it for Foley getting his much-deserved win, the brawl between DX and the Corporation, and the earth-shattering pop Stone Cold Steve Austin received for his entrance and assist. Number 85, The Ultimate Warrior versus Randy Savage at WrestleMania 7. One of the big things that attracts people to professional wrestling, and WWE specifically, is the larger-than-life characters that populate its roster. And do they come much larger than life than the Ultimate Warrior and Randy Savage? I mean, holy Technicolor Dreamcoat, McMahon. Jim Hellwig wasn't noted for his in-ring savvy and rarely had what you would call a great match, but the meticulous Macho Man, who was a stickler for details and planned his biggest matches out very carefully, carried him to, perhaps, his best ever in-ring showing. Warrior and Savage met at WrestleMania 7 in a retirement match. With Randy leading the way and mapping out a roller coaster ride of emotions, Warrior was able to go far longer and dig a lot deeper than he was usually required to. This was a shining example of what WWE does best, with two well-defined and colorful personalities having a classic match at WWE's signature event. The post-match theatrics with Queen Sherry and Miss Elizabeth put a beautiful bow on it after all was said and done. Number 84, WeLC at Extreme Rules 2014. Now this right here is what in wrestling is usually dubbed an attraction. WeLC was TLC, but for, that's right, little or wee people, namely Hornswoggle and El Torito. Despite being shunted onto the Extreme Rules 2014...
Is that a young Drew McIntyre? Do you see? Hold up. Is that young Drew McIntyre? Damn! Wait! He was so cute back then, what the fuck? Holy shit, let's go. WeLC had no business going so hard. Damn, that's crazy.
Pre-show, WWE spared no expense when it came to presenting this incredibly unique match, bringing out a scaled-down ring announcer, referee, and commentators, WeBL, Micro Cole, and Jerry Smaller, thank you very much, as well as providing mini weapons. Much of it was played for laughs, but the two men in the match, as well as Los Matadores and 3MB at ringside, put in one hell of a shift and took a lot of risks to get the thing over.
Oh, that's
and the crowd were really into it too, reacting strongly to the mayhem mayhem and popping in all the right places. The so-called midget match used to be a staple of WWE back in the day, but Hornswoggle and El Torito went above and beyond when given the rare chance to have an updated one of their own. Thankfully, it wasn't referred to as a midget match anymore. Truly, I've really never seen anything quite like it. Number 83, Lita versus Trish Stratus on Raw. Over a decade before the women's revolution changed the lay of the land in WWE as far as the opportunities that the company's female performers were offered, two Hall of Famers were doing everything in their power to change perceptions. Lita and Trish Stratus were part of a group along with the likes of Jazz, Victoria, and Molly Holly, who had tried to re-educate fans following years of the women primarily being used for bikini contests and bra and panties matches. Given the very rare chance to main event an episode of Raw, the two Trailblazers didn't waste a second of the time allotted to them and constructed a very hard-fought contest that helped inspire future generations, including Charlotte Flair, who was watching from the front row. There were thrills, spills, like Lita almost re-breaking her neck on a tope, and a thrilling closing stretch that saw the flame-haired risk-taker bag the gold over a year after coming back from reconstructive neck surgery. Number 82, Daniel Bryan versus Randy Orton versus Batista at WrestleMania 30. If Vince McMahon's original plan had come to fruition, the main event of WrestleMania 30 would have seen returning Hollywood hero Dave Batista capture the WWE World Heavyweight title by beating fellow developmental success story Randy Orton. WWE fans famously scuppered those plans, essentially hijacking WWE programming with the demand that the much-loved Daniel Bryan get his due and be put in the picture as well. D-Bry, on the back of the Yes Movement, found his way into the WrestleMania main event mix via an opening match win over Triple H, though the odds were heavily stacked against him given the stature and comparative freshness of his opponents. But this would be the American Dragon's night, as he did the improbable and saw off management's preferred choices to bag the gold in front of a feverish New Orleans Superdome crowd. Heartening stuff and a genuinely great match to boot. Number 81, Triple H versus Steve Austin at No Way Out 2001. Major blood feuds deserve an appropriate payoff, and it was feared that the dispute between Triple H and Steve Austin would end with a whimper after their lame Survivor Series main event climaxed with Stone Cold performing an outlandish bit of attempted vehicular homicide.
What the
Thankfully, the two enemies were able to settle their differences properly a few months later at No Way Out in a 3 Stages of Hell match. A 2-hour 3 falls match with a twist, the 3 Stages of Hell were a normal match first, street fight second, and if necessary, a cage match decider. The Cerebral Assassin and the Bionic Redneck gave every ounce of themselves over the course of 3 falls and 40 pulsating minutes. You should watch this one because it felt like a proper grudge match between two foes intent on beating the absolute hell out of each other. It's also obvious, in a good way, that the two are piecing a lot of it together as they go along, responding to the crowd's reactions and working based on feeling as opposed to adhering to a bunch of pre-planned spots. A lost art. Number 80, CM Punk versus John Cena at Money in the Bank 2011.
I don't know, there's something about cage matches that are so like WWE to me. I feel like that's like my impression of WWE growing up. It was just cage matches, to be very brutally honest with you guys. Hi besties, it's me, Miwa, and if you're enjoying today's video, please consider subscribing, okay? Like, please, times 1 billion. I'm like, really asking this of you, Nick. I think like that was like the core of my childhood. Not a lost art. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like, what was it, the recent match? Like, kind of had me disappointed, but I guess it's okay. CM Punk Cena were so loud and hot. Ooh.
A tale of contrasts, the feud between John Cena and CM Punk would end up being era-defining. With it, you have the chiseled, all-American, company-made man and face of the brand going up against the alternative, rarely fancied, outspoken contrarian whose journey to the big time had taken a very different path.
But we love CM Punk
into
now.
Life with a pipe bomb, the first major chapter in Punk and Cena's rivalry would take place at Money in the Bank 2011. It was, in truth, the very best of their many commendable efforts.
Uh-huh.
The perfect storm of the storyline, Punk promising to leave the company as WWE champion when his contract expired hours after the show, both men being on top of their games, and a frenzied partisan Chicago crowd cheering on their second city saints. Those rabid punters in the Windy City that night sure did help elevate the match, turning it from a classic in its own right to an all-timer. It's still...
Can I just say, I don't hate it, but like 2025 truly is the year of like the 2010 wrestlers, huh? Crowd waiting strike, really? Really? Damn, hold up. This is the match. I did not watch WWE during this period of time, so I'm like a little behind. Ooh.
Stands as Punk's defining WWE moment and a great demonstration of Cena's considerable talents. Number 79, The Undertaker versus Kurt Angle at No Way Out 2006.
This had to be good.
The zombie MMA guy versus the Olympic gold medal wrestler. Only in WWE, right? The Undertaker and Kurt Angle had battled before and had good matches, but their World Heavyweight title headliner at No Way Out 2006 was the best of the lot. In a match that really deserved to go down a month later at WrestleMania, the dead man and the Olympic hero wrestled in a way that Taker had never really wrestled before, incorporating a lot more of his mixed martial arts techniques and trading submissions with the man who had made making people tap out his calling card.
Damn.
There was a lot more to this than ground-based bone bending, naturally, with some big moves and sports entertainment accoutrement like a gnarly angle slam through the announce table. The Undertaker had been enjoying a resurgence before this,
Is
thanks
that
to
Randy
some cracking
Orton?
contests with Randy Orton, but this was the beginning of a stylistic shift for him that saw a marked uptick in form. It was also the
Damn.
last genuine classic Kurt was involved in before leaving the company just 6 months later. Number 78, Shawn Michaels versus Hulk Hogan at SummerSlam 2005. An intergenerational dream match many thought would never happen. Shawn Michaels and Hulk Hogan finally squared off in the main event of SummerSlam 2005. There were egos, backstage politics, and other issues involved in getting there, but they managed to get the match in the ring, and what unfolded was truly extraordinary. It's
Was
not
it
the
funny?
greatest match either man has ever had, but it is absolutely fascinating to watch, in the main for Shawn's one-man show mentality and apparent overselling, which some took as being a sarcastic shot at his all-powerful opponents.
Damn.
Michaels was allegedly dismayed that a proposed 3-match program, which would see him pick up a win in the rematch before the Hulkster inevitably won the feud, was nixed, as Hogan preferred the one-and-done approach, brother. The Heartbreak Kids wink-nudge theatrics aside, there is still something very special about seeing two stars of this stature sharing the squared circle. Number 77, Kurt Angle and Ronda Rousey versus Triple H and Stephanie McMahon at WrestleMania 34. A debuting megastar from another sport, a returning legend reviving a classic rivalry, and two despised villains getting their comeuppance on the grandest stage of them all. There is a lot to love here. Truth is, it was hard to know what to expect going into this match, which stole the show at WrestleMania 34, since one of the participants had never had a pro match before, her partner was broken down and had only wrestled sporadically in the years prior, and their opponents were part-time in-ring performers and had been accused of using their political clout to do the opposite of what was best for business.
Damn.
All fears were quashed on the night, however, with a bout that was booked to perfection. Everyone involved doing their bit to make it a superb debut for Rousey, a nice return to Mania for a Hall of Fame legend, and a satisfying blow-off to a long-running storyline. A star-making debut for Rowdy Ronda on her first night in, but the three other people in there with her deserve a ton of credit for helping to facilitate it. Number 76, the Money in the Bank
Aw, that
ladder
feels
match
like
at
it would have been a good
WrestleMania
match,
21.
like fun
It's
at least.
incredible to think, considering how ubiquitous the match type and cash-in trope became afterwards, but the first Money in the Bank ladder match was considered a gamble, and even more incredibly, a couple of the participants, like Kane and inaugural winner Edge, didn't even want to be in it.
Oh.
Anyone with misgivings about being involved in the six-way ladder match at WrestleMania 21 needn't have worried, because the finished product was remarkable. The big bumps and stunts were breathtaking, but there were also several running threads and stories told, like Chris Benoit fighting through a debilitating arm injury and coming within millimeters of winning, the collective effort to neutralize the Big Red Machine, and the freaky athleticism of Shelton Benjamin, who really seized his opportunity on such a big stage and made a couple of WrestleMania moments.
Damn. Damn.
There have been many awe-inspiring Money in the Bank matches since, but none have really been able to replicate the feeling of the original. Number 75, Eddie Guerrero versus JBL at Judgment Day 2004.
Oh, hell yeah.
In the wake of WrestleMania 20, the SmackDown brand was left with a serious lack of top-level heels for babyface WWE champion Eddie Guerrero to work with. So, WWE created a new one, repackaging career mid-card tag teamer Bradshaw as JBL. Their title showdown at Judgment Day was a stern test for Latino heat and a make-or-break moment for his opponents. Doing everything in his power to get the match and John Bradshaw Layfield over, Guerrero accidentally sprung a gusher midway through the contest, turning it from a so-so scrap to a blood-stained masterwork. It really is a tale of two matches, with everything after Eddie's gruesome blade job becoming instantly more compelling, as there was a very real sense of danger due to just how much claret he shed. JBL, to his credit, stepped up and managed to look like he belonged in his first headline appearance.
Damn.
The matchup may be a turn-off for some, but if you can stomach it, then Eddie versus JBL from Judgment Day 2004 is definitely worth your time. Number 74, Sasha Banks versus Becky Lynch versus Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania 32. There had been signs that the women's evolution was about to begin in earnest when WWE seemed to signal its official start at WrestleMania 32. On that night, the company ditched the Divas title in favor of bringing back the Women's Championship, with three of the company's most promising talents, male or female, Sasha Banks, Becky Lynch, and Charlotte Flair, all graduates of WWE Feeder Farm NXT, battling it out for the new prize. The best thing on the WrestleMania 32 card, this triple threat announced the arrival of three new stars and gave viewers a glimpse of the incredible things that they, as well as the likes of Bayley, Alexa Bliss, the Bellas, and others, would do in the years ahead.
Do you guys miss the Bellas? Genuine question. Bayley's fallen off a lot for me, but do you guys miss the Bellas? What do you think? Not really? Yeah, I don't think they were bad, but I think like they're just hot, right? I don't think they were necessarily bad. I just think that their role was just, you know, hot. Yeah, I think there's way better now. Like, shit, I mean, I don't know, like, Rhea Ripley's always gonna be a favorite just because she is that cool. But yeah, it's not attracted to the Bellas. I wonder who was that they were twins. You know, that's fair. Yeah, we have a ton of like really good talents right now, so like it's kind of crazy. Like okay, Io Sky's definitely really good. I love Julia. I love Stephanie. I can't say her last name. I can never say her last name. I love Stephanie. And Liv Morgan. We like Liv Morgan. Io Shirai. Io Shirai is good, huh? This is AEW, but I love Mina Shirakawa. Oh yeah, Bianca's good too. Yeah. Yeah, everyone that goes... Okay, I love women's wrestling, like, unironically. I think that women's wrestling is... Especially Japanese women's wrestling is really good. I love Japanese women's wrestling. Oh yeah, Toni Storm is really good too. What do you guys think about Mariah May? Like, what are you thinking about Mariah May? Joshi wrestling is always good. This one, like, a match that I watched, they actually brought, what's her name? You know, the one who does, like, all the flips? Like, she trends on Twitter a lot because she's very theatrical with her flips, and it always looks really pretty when she does it. You know what? I forgot her name. I'm blanking on it. But she was there, and she was really good live. It was such a treat.
Incredibly, this was a WrestleMania debut for all three ladies, and all three of them would go on to main event the show within 5 years.
Damn.
Number 73, Brock Lesnar versus The Rock at SummerSlam 2002. It's rare in WWE to see the torch being passed right in front of our very own eyes, but it does occasionally happen, and when it does, it's usually a significant moment that can be pointed to as the beginning of a new era that will change the business for years to come. One of the best examples of this is Brock Lesnar beating The Rock for the WWE title at SummerSlam 2002. The Great One already had one foot in Hollywood, and it was understood that his presence would be felt less and less.
Guys, can I be real? I just had such bad whiplash because I forgot what The Rock looked like with hair. I got such bad whiplash. I was like, who is that? I forgot what he looked like with hair. I was like, wait a second. Huh? Oh man, yeah, the Scorpion King days. I'm so used to seeing him without the hair now. I don't even know, man. That's how old we are. Brock Lesnar with hair is also surprising to me, but I guess he's always like, no, Brock Lesnar with hair this long is surprising to me. Because I know he keeps his hair like a lot shorter, but he also kind of went through that phase where he had like that one like braid. I don't know if I like the braid. I think he looked better like this. But then again, I also prefer without the weird sword tattoo, so hey.
Well, the next big thing was new on the scene, the once-in-a-generation freak of nature having taken WWE by storm in the 5 months he'd been on television. Given more of a real sports build that emphasized both men's tremendous physical conditioning and respective athletic strengths, the match ushered in the era of Lesnar as not your typical slow-moving monster meathead, but as a competitive beast and a champion for the new millennium. It was Brock's first really great match, and much of the credit for that must go to the most electrifying man in sports entertainment who went above and beyond to do business the right way. Number 72, Tiger Mask versus the Dynamite Kid in MSG. One of the most innovative matches in Japanese wrestling history came to WWE for one night when WWE ran Madison Square Garden on August 30th, 1982. The Dynamite Kid and original Tiger Mask, Satoru Sayama, had been revolutionizing wrestling with their battles in the Land of the Rising Sun, getting the attention of Vince McMahon, who had recently completed the purchase of WWE from his father, Vince Sr. Both Dynamite and Sayama were making their MSG debuts and wowed the expectant crowd with a style of wrestling they had never seen before. In all honesty, it wasn't quite at the caliber of their matches in New Japan, but there's something about watching those fans in New York lose their marbles at the grace and speed of the acrobatics on display. Truly, it must have been like looking into the future. The thing is, even 40 years later, there aren't many on their level, and it's still impressive to watch. Number 71, Shawn Michaels versus Razor Ramon at WrestleMania 10.
Someone mentioned it.
The televised ladder match in WWE history, one between Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart, had been included on the Smack 'em Whack 'em VHS previously. This intercontinental title bout between the Heartbreak Kid and the Bad Guy showed what the company's new generation of stars was all about. All the ingredients were there, with the match taking place inside the hallowed Madison Square Garden at the 10th WrestleMania. Ladder matches being such an unknown was both a help and a hindrance, as the audience didn't have any expectations or preconceived notions of what it would look like, but the lack of experience in working with the ladders must have made laying the match out a tricky proposition for Shawn and Razor. As he was one to do, HBK put forth a Herculean effort, bumping and throwing himself around like a man possessed in his bid to steal the show. It obviously helped that he and Scott Hall were close behind the scenes and were willing to make the other, but don't discount how much pressure must have been on them to deliver with the lights on brightest. Often cited as inspiration for future ladder match veterans, Michaels vs. Ramon at WrestleMania 10 was truly state-of-the-art stuff and an important WWE milestone. Number 70, the 1992 Royal Rumble.
So I wasn't born yet. So chat, you guys are gonna have to like walk me through this. What happened? I don't know. I wasn't born. I didn't watch it.
Half of the entrants in the 1992 Royal Rumble are now in the WWE Hall of Fame, though there's a lot more than mere star power to enjoy when it comes to what many still consider WWE's greatest Royal Rumble ever. The colourful cast of characters certainly make watching it more entertaining than other Rumbles where there are perhaps a disproportionate number of no-hopers involved. One of the things that makes it a worthy investment of your time is that this was the first time the 30-man over-the-top Battle Royal was fought over the WWE title itself, rather than a shot at it in the main event of WrestleMania. Though the stacked lineup features the likes of Hulk Hogan, Roddy Piper, The Undertaker, the British Bulldog, Jake Roberts, Randy Savage, and Sid Justice, the match belonged to Ric Flair, who lived up to his 60-minute man moniker by entering third and lasting a full hour to survive as the last man standing. An incredible tour de force, the Nature Boy's performance in the match is eminently watchable, and the bout lends to repeat viewings. Number
Damn.
69, The Shield versus the Wyatt family at Elimination Chamber 2014.
Let's go!
Strong factions made quite the comeback in the early to mid-2010s, with the Shield and the Wyatt family leading the way. Eventually, something had to give, and the Titanic first meeting was booked for the 2014 Elimination Chamber, which, coincidentally, was the last pay-per-view to air before the launch of the WWE Network a day later. Both the Shield and the Wyatt family will go down as two of the most legendary stables in WWE history, and their first match together did not disappoint. Both teams had momentum, the fans were invested in the action and outcome, and WWE gave them the best part of 25 minutes to play with. The talent on both sides dictated that the match would, from an in-ring standpoint, be at the very least good, but everyone involved busted their backsides and played their parts well, taking it to that next level.
Was that Bray Wyatt? Oh man. No, I'm sad. Also, that one shot of Roman Reigns getting hit was insane. I can't believe we stopped it here, but oh man. Yeah, Bray Wyatt and Luke Harper.
WWE was smart to strike while the iron was hot and book this match when they did, as the career trajectories of the participants would change significantly not too long after. Number 68, Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant at WrestleMania 3. It's one of the most iconic matches and moments in WWE history, endlessly replayed via highlight reels, its legend seemingly growing in stature as time goes on. In the main event of WrestleMania 3, Hulk Hogan defended his WWE title against Andre the Giant, the irresistible force meeting the immovable object in front of a staggering and disputed 93,173 fans. It was WWE's biggest show ever to that point, and this was the marquee match, culminating with Hogan slamming Andre and pinning him to retain his crown and prolong the run of Hulkamania. As an actual match, it's actually pretty rotten, with the Hulkster unable to do much with a deteriorating Andre, and everything outside of the finish being somewhat less than inspiring. But it's one of those matches that, as a fan, you really ought to see at least once, as it's such an important historical document. WWE is all about spectacle, and from a visual standpoint, not much beats Hogan vs. Andre at WrestleMania 3 as far as spectacle is concerned. Number 67, Kofi Kingston vs. Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania 35. 5 years and one retirement after being the plucky underdog willed to the summit in the main event of WrestleMania 30, Daniel Bryan was the evil prick that everyone wanted to see lose the title to their new plucky underdog, Kofi Kingston. Funny how life works, isn't it?
I love Kofi Kingston.
Found himself in this spot almost by accident, his sudden upswing in popularity displacing D-Bry's originally scheduled opponent, Kevin Owens, who was left off the show entirely as a consequence. Kingston had been a hard-working soldier for WWE for over a decade by this point, but he'd never managed to smash through that glass ceiling and cement himself at the top of the card. That all changed at WrestleMania 35 when he met the American Dragon in the best match of the night. There was good mat wrestling, some high flying, a bunch of nail-biting near falls, and importantly, plenty of psychology and a strong story told. They had the crowd the entire way, right up to the uplifting payoff. Number 66, Bruno Sammartino versus Larry Zbyszko at Showdown at Shea 1980. You cannot talk about the history of WWE without mentioning Bruno Sammartino, the longtime champion who sold out Madison Square Garden more than any other. One man who admired, if not idolized, the living legend was Larry Zbyszko, who was trained by Bruno and presented as his protege. The inability of Zbyszko to step out of Sammartino's shadow led to him turning on his mentor in bloody fashion.
Damn. I was gonna pause during the Kofi Kingston one just to talk about Kofi Kingston, but also, you know, I kind of missed my timing. So, anyways, yeah, holy no, I love the New Day. I know people are getting tired of their gimmick, and that's why they kind of broke apart, right? But I did enjoy them. I don't know. I enjoy the New Day in the same way I enjoy Alpha Academy. You know, before Chad Gable turned heel. Like, I just like that there's just a stable that's just, you know, happy and positive, even if they're, like, not the greatest. It's kind of like why I like R-Truth so much. Yeah, it did get stale, but, I mean, I do enjoy the positivity, right? Getting Kofi deserved better. Also, when did you get into pro wrestling? I've always liked it. I feel like I talk about it a lot, too. I've always liked it. I just decided maybe we should start reacting to it. I know. No, I love R-Truth. Rhea Ripley. Everyone loves Rhea Ripley. Everyone loves Rhea Ripley. Yeah. I don't know. Like, I'm just happy. Also, yeah, I do agree the Eco Warrior belt, really ugly. I don't like it. Okay, I feel like the Eco Warrior belt is ugly, but I think the old Divas belts were way uglier. I genuinely think the ugliest belt is probably the old Divas ones. Yeah, you know, the one with like the big like butterfly, whatever it is. Oh, but then there's also that one title that looks like it has like a fidget spinner on it. You know the one I'm talking about? Dude.
Kicking off a heated student versus teacher rivalry that led to a series of main event matches. Their dispute reached a fever pitch inside a cage at the 1980s Showdown at Shea Show, which took place in front of over 36,000 people at New York's Shea Stadium. Like a lot of Bruno's matches, it wasn't a technical masterpiece or anything close to it, but it was a great cage match, and the fans are molten because they really believed in their guy and bought into the storyline, which had been booked brilliantly. Number 65. The Undertaker versus Triple H at WrestleMania 28. The Undertaker and Triple H's third WrestleMania meeting was billed as the end of an era. Not only would it be the last time the dead man in the game would cross paths at the Showcase of the Immortals, but it was the conclusion to a 4-year story that began with Taker's match against Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 25. Mr. WrestleMania would be on hand here to act as special guest referee as his best friend and his former rival fought inside Hell in a Cell, a match both men
probably a great match.
Well. There was a lot of legacy to live up to here, but they managed to not only live up to it, but have their best ever match against one another.
I'm so just like how I'm weirded out by how like by pictures of The Rock with hair. I'm weirded out when I see pictures of the Undertaker with no hair. Oh man, I don't know. It's one of those things that it kind of gives me like severe like I feel like I don't remember this, you know? Like I feel like I'm being like punked right now. Like what do you mean? He has no hair.
I mean, they just beat the absolute hell out of each other, no pun intended, with the presence of Michaels and the streak being tenuously close to ending on several occasions, really ramping up the drama as it wore on, building to a crescendo. I remember watching it at the time and thinking, I really hope this isn't actually the last time these three share a ring together, and then Saudi Arabia happened, and I curse myself for ever thinking such thoughts. Stupid brain. Number 64, Eddie Guerrero versus Edge on SmackDown. Eddie Guerrero and Edge had tried on numerous occasions to have, if not a classic match, then one that measured up to the expectations placed on two such enviably talented performers. Their bouts at SummerSlam and Unforgiven were good, yes, but just about missed the mark. Given one last opportunity and told to go all out with no disqualification rules, Latino Heat and the Rated R Superstar had one of the best SmackDown matches in the history of the Blue brand on the September 26, 2002 edition of the show.
I'm not
Both
surprised.
men were mired in the mid-card at the time, but this was a match that made WWE management sit up and realize that they had two potential main eventers on their hands. They simply destroyed each other that night in a contest that turned into something of an unofficial ladder match. Watching it back, it's really no wonder that Edge would undergo major neck surgery just a few months later, as he took so much punishment, including a jaw-dropping sunset flip powerbomb from the top of the ladder. Despite losing the match and being a slimy heel, Guerrero received a justified standing ovation after he'd scraped himself off the canvas. Number 63, Rob Van Dam versus John Cena at ECW One Night Stand 2006. Despite being one of the company's most popular performers, Rob Van Dam never won the ECW World title before the promotion closed its doors in 2001.
Did you guys ever see that one tweet that went around where it was like some guy in Vegas got his car hit by Rob Van Dam's car, and instead of trading like insurance like contact or whatever, the guy was like, "Can I just get your signature?" And he actually ended up getting like a photo and like a signature from Rob Van Dam, and he was like, "You know what? This is fine." Did you guys ever see that one? It was so dumb. I remember just looking at it, I was like, wait, low-key based though.
He had the chance to somewhat right that wrong 5 years later when he
Ooh.
challenged for John Cena's WWE title in the main event of the second One Night Stand. One Night Stand had been the brainchild of RVD, but he'd had to sit out the first one, save for cutting an explosive promo due to injury. Now, the longtime flag bearer for Paul Heyman's promotion had the chance to bag major gold in front of his fans. And boy, did the fans make themselves heard, not only showering the whole flippin' show with love, but also directing previously unseen amounts of hate towards Big Match John. Well, if anyone can rise above hate, it's John Cena, who shrugged off the hostility and had a banger with Mr. Money in the Bank. If you don't watch it at least once, we riot. Number 62,
Damn.
Sami Zayn versus Johnny Knoxville at WrestleMania 38. That's right, Jackass star Johnny Knoxville is in one of the 101 WWE matches you need to watch at least once. What about it? Truth be told, I'm sure a lot of people who both have and haven't seen Knoxville's WrestleMania 38 Anything Goes match with Sami Zayn are gonna be just furious about its inclusion. Zayn himself has since stated that of all the great matches he's been involved in throughout his career, he would put this one up against any of them, and that he's intensely proud of it.
Damn.
And with good reason, because it really was a fantastic achievement, and anyone who watches it won't soon forget about it. Naturally, it was very gimmicky, with weapons, stunts, and run-ins by other Jackass alumni. It's silly, it's bags of fun, and it's genuinely
What
very
the heck is
impressive that
that?
they were able to do it all so well. Plus, it really wound Jim Cornette up, so that's a bonus in my book. Number 61, the Fabulous Moolah versus Wendy Richter at the Brawl to End It All. While Hulk Hogan and WrestleMania had a great deal to do with WWE's mid-80s explosion in popularity, a lot of credit must go to the Rock and Wrestling connection too, specifically the involvement of Cyndi Lauper. The woman behind such hits as Girls Just Want to Have Fun and Time After Time helped WWE reach a youthful mainstream MTV audience, starting with the Brawl to End It All. Lauper seconded Wendy Richter for her Women's Championship match with the Fabulous Moolah, who had had a monopoly on the title for close to 30 years at that point, though the real length is disputed due to some actual but unacknowledged title changes. The match was nothing to shout about, of course, but it was hugely important, airing live on MTV and attracting a massive 9.0 rating, making it the most watched program in the history of the station at the time.
Wow.
Richter won the title in controversial circumstances too, ending Moolah's record-setting reign. When telling the history of WWE, you cannot do it without mentioning Wendy Richter, Cyndi Lauper, and the Rock and Wrestling connection. Or Bob Holly, for that matter, but that's another conversation for another day. Number
What the
60,
heck?
Bret Hart versus the British Bulldog at SummerSlam 1992. At the 1991 SummerSlam, Bret Hart won the Intercontinental title from Mr. Perfect in a classic, as we've already discussed, inside Madison Square Garden, solidifying his status as a singles star to watch. 1 year later, the Hitman was defending the title against brother-in-law Davey Boy Smith, aka the British Bulldog, in front of a sold-out Wembley Stadium. On this night, it would be Bulldog's big moment as he won his first WWE singles title in front of his countrymen. As a match taken strictly at face value, it is a brilliant piece of work, the two men going at it hard and fast for 25 breathless minutes, keeping everyone guessing as to which way the result would go. But when you know the story behind the match, it's even more impressive. Davey Boy was, shall we say, not in the best of ways when the bell rang, having spent the weeks leading up to the event indulging in his vices, rather than training hard. It was up to the pink and black attack to carry him through it, which he did without anyone being the wiser. Still, and perhaps forever, the best WWE match to have taken place on UK soil.